Hello students, today we will see the chapter 3rd, moisture and total solid analysis. So first of all, what is the role of moisture? So generally what happens, the moisture plays an important role in the various kinds of chemical as well as pharmaceutical products. So the moisture assays, that's why there is a need to assay the moisture. So the moisture assay can be one of the most important analysis performed on the food products and yet one of the most difficult from which to obtain accurate and precise data. So this chapter is describes various methods for moisture analysis, their principle, procedures, applications, advantages and disadvantages. Water activity measurements is also described since it is parallel. The measurement of total moisture has an important stability and quality factor. With an understanding of techniques described, one can apply appropriate moisture analysis to a wide variety of food products. Now, what are the importance of moisture assay? So the following listings are showing some example which contain moisture in the different forms of various food products. So the moisture is a quality factor in the preservation of some food products and affects stability in dehydrated vegetables and fruits, dried milks, powdered eggs, dehydrated potatoes. Then second one is the moisture is also used as a quality factor for jams and jellies to prevent sugar crystallization, sugar syrup, then prepared milk, so that prepared cereals which are having conventional having 4 to 8% moisture, while puffed cereals having 7 to 8% of the moisture. Reduced moisture is used for convenience in packaging or shipping of concentrated milk, liquid cane sugar that is having 60%, 67% solid, and liquid corn sweetener that is having 80% solid. Then dehydrated products, these are difficult to package if too high in the moisture. Then the next one is the moisture or solid contents is often specified in compositional standards, that is standards of identity. Suppose for example if I considering the cheese having the moisture which is greater than or equal to 39%, enriched flour must be greater than 15% of moisture, pineapple juice must be soluble fats around 10.5 bricks, and glucose syrup must have 70% of total solid. The percentage of the added water is processed meats is commonly specified. So the computations of nutritional value of foods require that you know the moisture content. So the moisture data are used to express the results of the analytical determinations on the uniform basis, that is dry wet basis rather than the wet basis. Then the next one is the forms of water in the foods. So the S of water removal from foods depends on how it exists in the food product. There are three states of water in food products which are free water. So this water retain its physical properties and thus act as a dispersing agent for colloids and solvent for the salts. Then second one is the adsorbed water. So this water is held tightly on the surface in the cell walls or protoplasm and is held tightly to the proteins. Then third one is the water of hydration. So this water is bound chemically. For example, lactose monohydrate, also sodium sulfate hydrate. These are the example. So depending upon the form of the water present in the food, the method used for determining moisture may measures more or less moisture present. So this is the reason for official methods with stated procedures. However, several official methods may exist for particular product. For example, the AOAC International Method for cheese includes method 926.08 having vacuum oven 948.12, forced draft oven 977.11, microwave oven 969.19, distillation, usually the first method listed by AOE. So these are the generally methods which have been used for evaluating the moisture content. Then next one is the sample collection and handling. So obviously any exposure of a sample to an open atmosphere should be as short as possible. Any heating of a sample by friction during grinding should be minimized. So the head space in the sample storage container should be minimal because moisture is lost from the sample to equilibrate the container environment against the sample. It is also critical to control the temperature fluctuation since the moisture will migrate in a sample to the colder part whenever we have performing temperature control procedures. Then to control these potential errors, remove the entire sample from the container, reblend quickly and then remove a test portion. So the rate of loss was related to the relative humidity. Means what? At 50% relative humidity, it requires only 5 seconds to 0.0 to lose 0.01% moisture. So this time doubled at 70% humidity or 0.01% moisture loss in 10 seconds. While one might expect a curvilinear loss, the moisture loss was actually linear over a 5-minute study interval. These data demonstrate the necessity of absolute control during collection of sample through weighing before drying. Then next one is the oven drying method. So general information regarding the removal of the moisture. So by using oven we have to remove the moisture. So for that we have some general information. So any oven method used to evaporate the moisture has its own foundation, the fact that the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. However, this considered only for pure water sea level. Pure water at sea level. Free water is easiest of the three forms of water to remove. However, if one molecular weight, that means 1 mole of solute is dissolved in 1 liter of water, the boiling point should be raised by 0.512 degrees Celsius. Means what? If you have a sample, that sample is added. Means what? If we have added 1 mole of the given solute in that particular sample, so the boiling point of that water will be raised by 0.5 degrees Celsius. This boiling point elevation continues throughout the moisture removal process as more and more concentration occurs. Moisture removal is sometimes better achieved in two-stage process. Liquid products, that is juice and milk, are commonly pre-dried over a steam bath before drying in an oven. Products such as bread and field fried grains are often air dried, then ground and oven dried with the moisture content calculated from moisture loss at both air and oven dried steps. Particle size, distribution, sample size, surface area during drying influence the rate and efficiency of the moisture removal. Then the next topic is decomposition of other food. So constitute moisture loss from the sample during analysis is the function of time and temperature. Decomposition enters the picture when time is extracted too much to temperature is too high. Thus, most of the methods for food moisture analysis involve compromise between time and particular temperature at which limited decomposition might be the most of the major factors. So the one major problem exists in the physical process must separate all the moisture without decomposing any of the constituents. that could release water. For example, if you have decomposed the carbohydrate at 100 degrees Celsius according to the following reactions, then what you will get? C6H12O6, that will give rise to 6 moles of carbon and 6 moles of water. So the moisture generated in the carbohydrate decomposition is not a moisture that we want to measure. Certain other chemical reactions, that is sucrose hydrolysis, can result in the utilization of moisture, which would reduce the moisture for the measurement. Then how the particular temperature control is done? So drying methods utilizes specific drying temperatures and times which must be carefully controlled. Moreover, there may be considerable variability of temperatures depending on the types of the ovens used for the moisture analysis. One should determine the event of variation within an oven before relying on the data collected from its use. Consider a temperature variation in three types of ovens, that is convection, that is atmospheric oven, forced draft oven, and third one is the vacuum oven. So this is the great temperature variation exists in convection type of ovens. So this is because hot air slowly circulates without the aid of the fan. Air movement is obstructed further by fans placed in the oven. When the oven door is closed, the rate of temperature recovery is generally slow. So this is dependent also upon load placed in the oven and upon ambient temperature. A 10 degree Celsius temperature differential across the convection oven is not unusual. This must be considered in the view of anticipated analytical accuracy and precision. A convection oven should not be used when precise and accurate measurements are needed. Then next is forced drafts oven. What is forced draft ovens? So forced draft ovens have least temperature differential across the interior of all ovens. Air is circulated by a fan that forces air movement throughout the oven cavity. So the forced draft ovens with air distribution manifolds appear to have added benefit where air movement is horizontal across the shelving. Thus, no matter whether the oven shelves are filled completely with moisture pan or only half filled, the result would be the same for the particular sample. In one configuration, the oven shelves were filled with many pans holding 2 or 3 grams of the cheddar cheese as a forced draft oven could hold. In two other in the two others, one half of the full load of pan with cheese was used with the pans in orderly vertical rows with the width of one pan between the rows or staggered such as pans on every other shelves were in vertical alignment. The results after drying showed no difference in the mean value or the standard deviation. Then the next one is the sampling procedure. So in the sampling procedure we will see the types of pans for oven drying methods. So pans used for the moisture determination are varied in shape and may or may not have a cover. Okay, so the AOSC International having moisture pan is about 5.5 centimeter in diameter with an insert cover. Other pans are have covers that slips over the outside edge of the pan. So these pans, while reusable, are inexpensive in terms of labor cost to clean appropriately to allow the reuse. Pan covers are necessary to control loss of sample by spattering during the heating process. If the cover is metal, it must be slipped to one side during the drying to allow the moisture evaporation. Consider the use of disposable pans whenever possible. The purchase glass fiber disc for covers. At 5.5 centimeter in diameter, these covers fit perfectly inside the disposable aluminum foil pans and prevent spattering while allowing the surface to breathe. Paper filters discs found with the fat and thus do not breathe effectively. Then the next one is the handling and preparation of pans. So the preparation and handling of pans before use requires considerations that you have to use the tongues to handle any pan. We have to use the pair of tongues to use or handle the pan. So the even fingerprint have also some kind of weights. So all pans must be oven treated to prepare them for use. This is the factor of major importance unless disproved by the technologists during moisture determinations with a particular type of pan. Disposable aluminum pans must be vacuum oven dried for 3 hours before use. At 3 and 15 hours is either a vacuum or forced draft oven at 100 degrees Celsius pans varied in their weight within the error of the balance or 0.0001 gram. Store dried Store dried moisture pans in functioning desiccator. The glass fibers covers should be dried for 1 hour before use. Then next one is the control of surface crust formation. That is, we have to control that surface crust formation by using sand pan techniques. In that, some food materials tend to form a semi-permeable crust or lump together during the drying, which will contribute to erratic and erroneous result. That's why we have to take clean dry sand and a short glass stirring rod and pre-weigh into the moisture pan. The remainder of the procedure follows the standardized method if available, otherwise the sample is dried to a constant weight. The purpose of sand is twofold, that is to prevent the surface crust from the forming and to disperse the sample so evaporation of moisture is less impeded. Similar to this procedure, applications and disadvantages of using sand, other heat-stable inert materials such as diatomaceous earth can be used in moisture determination, especially for sticky fruits. Then, how we have to calculate the moisture and total solids from the given food content? So, it is calculated as percentage of moisture by weight percentage is calculated by weight of moisture in the form of water in the sample divided by weight of the weight sample into 100. Also, we have to find out the moisture as percentage of moisture is equals to weight of the wet sample minus weight of the dry sample divided by weight of the wet sample into 100, and percentage of solid is determined by using weight by weight formula, that is weight of dry sample divided by weight of the wet sample into 100. Now the next is distillation procedures. So why or how the particular food products they are purified, or we can say the distillation procedure. So sample size determination can be based on either precision analysis or power analysis. So distillation technique involves co-distilling the moisture in food sample with high boiling point solvent that is immiscible in water, collecting the moisture that distills off and then measuring the volume of water. So two distillation procedure are used today, that is first direct distillation, and second one is the reflux distillation with a variety of solvents. Other immiscibles, a variety of solvents. For example, in direct distillation with immiscible solvents of higher boiling point than water, the sample is heated in mineral oil or liquid with a flash point well above the boiling point of water. Other immiscible liquid with boiling point only slightly above water can also be used. For example, toluene, xylene and benzene. However, reflux distillation with the immiscible solvent, that is toluene, is most widely used method. Distillation technique were originally developed as a rapid method for quality control work, but they are not adaptable to routine testing. It also can give good accuracy and precision for nuts, oils, soaps and waxes. Distillation methods can cause less thermal decomposition of some foods than oven dried at high temperature. Adverse chemical reactions are not eliminated but can be minimized by using the solvent with lower boiling point. This, however, will increase distillation time. Water is measured directly in the distillation procedure rather than the weight loss. But reading the volume of the water in receiving tube may be less accurate than using the weight measurement. Then the next one is the first type, that is the reflux distillation with immiscible solvents. So, so this is the apparatus, that is Bidwell Sterling moisture trap. So reflux distillation uses either a solvent less denser than water, for example Tolu with a boiling point 110.6 degrees Celsius, or xylene with a boiling point of 137 to 140 degrees Celsius, or a solvent more denser than water, for example tetrachloroethylene with a boiling point of 121. The advantage of using this last solvent is that material is to be dried floats, therefore it will not char or burn. In addition, there is a no fire hazard with the solvent. A Bidwell Sterling moisture trap is commonly used as a part of apparatus for reflux distillation with a solvent less denser than water. The reflux distillation having immiscible solvent, the distillation procedure using such a trap emphasis placed on disloading adhering water drops, thereby minimizing error. When the toluene in the distillation just starts to boil, the analyst will observe a hazy cloud rising in the distillation flask. This is the vaporous emulsion of water in the toluene. So the condensation occurs as a vapors rises, hitting the vessel, the Bidwell Sterling trap, and the bottom of the condenser. It is also hazy at the cold surface of the condenser where water droplets are visible. The emulsion inverts and becomes toluene dispersed in water. So in this way the reflux distillation occurs, and by which we have to separate the various components. So now the procedure for the reflux distillation. So first of all we have to place the sample in the distillation flask and cover completely with the solvent. Then we have to fill the receiving tube, that is Bidwell Sterling trap, with a solvent by pouring it through the top of the condenser. Bring to boil. We have to boil the given solution and distill slowly. At the first, we have to distill it slowly, and after that we have to increase the temperature. After the distillation has proceeded for approximately 1 hour, use the adapted burette brush to dislodge the moisture droplets from the condenser and top part of the Bidwell Sterling trap. Slide the brush up the condenser to point above the vapor condensing area. Rinse the brush and wire with small amount of toluene to discharge adhering water drops. Collect in the bottom of the tube. Then, if a water is added to the walls of the calibrated tube, invert the brush and use the straight wire to dislodge this water, so it. Return the wire to a point above the condensation point and rinse the another small amount of toluene. After no more water has distilled from the sample, repeat the brush and wire routine to dislodge adhering water droplets. Rinse the brush and wire with toluene before removing the condenser. Then allow the apparatus to cool to ambient temperature before measuring the volume of the water in the trap. Then the volume of water into 2, that is for a 50 gram of the sample we have to find out the percentage of the moisture. Okay, so in this way we have to see what is the reflux distillation. So this is about today's lecture. In the next lecture we have to see what are the official methods. So generally for the moisture identification and estimation, the most popular, that is Karl Fisher method, is there. We will see in the next lecture. Thank you.